Hi guys! So this is a bit of a longer video, but today we're going to be working on this commission. So sit down, stretch your little artist fingers and draw with me. As usual, I did my sketching beforehand and I don't know what's happening, but like I get part of the way through, but the sketch isn't sketching, the drawing is not formulating. So I keep pushing through like, no, if I keep going it'll be fine, but I didn't like anything that was happening here. So my commissioner, all you nerds out there, you probably know what it is already. I didn't know, but me just call my commissioner a nerd right now. My commissioner, she wanted her Apex Legends Sona, I believe that's the name of the game. She wanted that with the character Mirage, and that's what I had sketched out. And she was happy with the sketch, and I was happy with the sketch. But I was working on the sketch and the sketch wasn't sketching, and you'll see me pause sometimes because I'll be thinking like, what's wrong with this? But I just kept going, and then it was around this point where I was like, oh no, because I was doing the chest and I'm like, the chest looks too pushed down. Like it looks like when you have a bra that's a bit too big and a bit too tight, so it's pulling your chest down. So here I was trying to like reconstruct the torso underneath, like no, this isn't right. And then I just kept going, and then I quit. I went to sleep. But then I came back and I streamed on TikTok. So this is film from when I was streaming on TikTok. And I figured, okay, so how do we fix this? And the reason why the sketch wasn't sketching with the line art was because I didn't have enough information. And I remember, I forgot who told me this. I saw it in a video probably. But I remember an artist saying that if your sketch doesn't look good when you're lining it, when you're doing your line art, that is probably because there's not enough information. Your brain is trying to fill in stuff and you didn't put it down. So I'm bringing in their reference image. I'll pop it up right here for you real quick. They're a really good illustrator. They're like, I did this really quick for the commission. I'm like, quick? This is really good. Why are you commissioning me? But I didn't say that. But anyways, I was working on it and I'm like, okay, if I just keep adding more details and really add to this sketch, then that might help me understand better what I'm trying to do. So I kind of treat this sketch like a very rough line art. And I don't do that often. Typically I know what I'm doing with line art, but this time around I was having art block. I couldn't figure it out. So I was just like trying to figure it out. I was like lining up the faces to try to figure out like what he has on his headband. And they look like little lipsticks, to be honest. But yeah, I kind of figured it out halfway through. Anyways, let's go break to answer these questions you guys asked me. Let's stop talking about the art for a second. No one cares about the art that's here. Okay, so I asked you guys on Instagram, and mind you, there's only 2 responses, so I can only milk this so much. But I told you guys to ask me anything and I'll talk about it in my YouTube videos, and I'm not upset that there's only 2 responses since the channel's still new and all. But make sure you guys like feel free to ask me stuff. Just don't ask me stuff that I don't know. You'll find out if I don't know it or not. But anyways, one question was, and this is pretty easy to answer. Have you seen the movie Labyrinth with the late great David Bowie? I only found out a few weeks ago who David Bowie is. I like Venture Bros a lot. Don't get me started on Venture Bros. I love Venture Bros. Mwah. But anyways, I like Venture Bros a lot, and the villain in it was David Bowie, and I just found out he was real. I thought they made him up. Like, I kind of knew who he was, but like he had sidekick characters, and I didn't realize that they were real until I saw an artist make fan art of them, like an artist I follow, and I was like, this guy's a real guy? I thought he was just in Venture Bros. Music people out there, don't crucify me. I don't listen to things. But anyways, no, I have not seen it. If that answers your question, because if this is a movie, that implies that David Bowie is also an actor, and I had no idea that he also acted. I barely know the music he's made. The second question, this one is from one of my darling rats, and it says, what do you like to draw the most? That's a really tough question. Oh, gosh. I typically draw things that I enjoy. So I believe in that saying, you know, where it's like, write what you want to read, I draw what I want to see. So I typically enjoy most things that I draw. Like, unless I'm being hired to do something that's just like a job. But aside from that, what do I like to draw the most? That's a really tough question. Okay, I thought for like 2 seconds, and my answer, I was gonna say boobs. But then I was like, well, no, that sounds like a perverse answer. But then I realized the deeper reason. I thought for 5 more seconds. I like drawing fat a lot. Because, you know, boobs are made out of fat. And And that's the part I like. I like doing the gravity of it, and everyone carries fat differently. So when I say fat, I don't just mean the bazoingazoings or the pectorials. I also mean like around the belly and how the fat like cushions at the armpits. And I like drawing like double chins. I like all that stuff. That's really nice to draw. It makes the character just feel, I don't know, meaty. I like adding the meat on the art. A lot of times they don't teach you how to draw fat in school, and I struggled with it for a long time, but then I took figure drawing classes. I love figure drawing classes because a lot of my models weren't like perfectly thin, so that was the best part because I could draw like fat and like all those like bumps and lumps and what, yeah, that sounds gross. You know what I mean? I could draw like different body types, and like one model, I know they were so mean to her. She had like slightly pointed breasts, and it was my favorite part to draw because it meant I could draw like a diverse body type, and I could indicate how the fat like played with gravity, if that makes sense. But everyone in class, they did her dirty. They just drew straight up cones at times. It was like, come on, you guys. I know they're not like perfectly round circles, but let's not exaggerate here. Like, it's a figure drawing class, so we're supposed to draw what we see. But yeah, I think that's my favorite thing to draw, fat in general. Not just like the chest, but like the tummy. I like drawing fat arms. I like drawing fat everywhere. Fat thighs, favorite part. Anyways, if you've been paying attention to what I've been drawing, I don't know. I hear people watch these while they draw, and I know I watch videos like this sometimes while I draw. But if you've been paying attention, I was lining the crap out of this. Like, I learned a lot of new lining techniques from BAM Animation. You probably heard of them because they're a pretty big group. I didn't hear about them until recently, and I wish I knew sooner because I learned more from them than I learned all 4 years at art school. But anyways, I was doing like a lot of line work. These characters have like a lot of detail, but I feel like detail really helps characters pop out. They commissioned me to do a cell shaded piece, and cell shading, I feel like depending on how you do cell shading, it could either fall flat or really be amped up. And I try to amp things up at times depending on what they want. Like if I feel like they're trying to imply to me that they want something amped up, I try to do that. But if I feel like they want something calmer, I try to do that. But anyways, so I was trying to figure out the flat colors for this because there's like a lot of colors going on. And I wanted to use a color palette, but the palette I had was pretty much, see, I used this random palette. The palette I had was pretty much the colors I already had. So at first I was like, yeah, I'll adjust these colors so they fit the color palette more, and then everything will be so cohesive. And then I was like, nah, my commissioner, they're an artist too, and they ate this because the palette fits nicely. Their Apex Sona's palette fits very well in Mirage's palette. They both have these very warm orangey tones that all fit together, and that pop of green is really nice too. So I was just kind of like experimenting here and there. Not yet, but like later down the line, I tried to experiment a bit with like the colors and how I shade things, like with the glasses and stuff, all types of stuff like that. But yeah, I was watching like a lot of tutorials recently. I've been really studying. If you guys haven't seen me in a while, that's why. I've been putting my nose to the books, trying to understand different ways to illustrate. And I get nervous sometimes because I'm like, what if my commissioner doesn't like it? What if I do something different? And then they're like, I didn't want you to draw like this. Why are you changing up on me? But also, I forgot how to draw the past week. Like, this illustration really helped me remember because I definitely forgot. Like, I didn't do everything I usually do with this, but like near the end of this illustration, I had like a That's So Raven epiphany moment. And I was like, oh man, I forgot. But yeah, the way I do coloring here is very different than what I would typically do. And I know who the culprit is. I know who f***ed me over. It was the comic I've been working on. When it comes to comics, you just work in a way where you can get the next chapter out quickly and it looks good, you know, like you don't want to half-ass it, but at the same time, you want to get things out quickly. So that's how I work with my comics. And I did the same thing with illustrations that I did when I was an animation student. I'd get my wires confused. So like with animation, you want to get things out quickly. You don't need to do detailed stuff for animation. Illustration's different. You do want to add some more details depending on the style you're going for. So I would always like either do really simple stuff for illustration, and my professor, he'd be like, what the f is this? And I'd be like, what do you mean? Because I was used to drawing for animation, so then he'd be like, go back and do it again. Or I would do animation, it would take me like so long to do stuff because I was thinking in illustration mode, and I'm like, I gotta add all these details to the background. And then my classmates would do simplified backgrounds, and I'm like, oh, I wasted all my time focusing on the wrong stuff because I got my wires all messed up. So doing this comic, it really like had me a bit messed up because I was trying to figure out how to like draw in a way that wasn't comic-y, but also comic-y because comic art is nice. But the art I do for my comic is more simplified than what I would do for an illustration. Because unless you're like a big company, you don't got to spend that much time on comics. You just like do as much as you can and then you get it out there. Especially like with a webtoon. By the way, check out my webtoon, link in bio. It's Divine Intervention. It's a syndrome fan comic. It hasn't really been syndrome in the first few chapters, but it's getting there. Watch Syndrome fall in love. Ooh. But anyways, I keep up with the flat color and I'm really adding things in, and there's just so many little pieces. I'm so worried that they're all gonna blend. I've got a chicken patty in the oven. Oh, thank God, I'm starving. But I'll eat that after I finish recording this. I'm so hungry, you guys. I woke up. I've been waking up at 3 a.m. the past few nights. I've been falling asleep against my will. I'm typically up all night, but I've been falling asleep against my will and waking up early in the morning. So I woke up at 3 a.m. and I was like, well, I guess I'm awake now. I can't sleep because I went to sleep early last night like a weirdo. Because who sleeps at night? But anyways, I got up and I worked on my commissions, and I have so many videos to show you guys because I recorded myself working. So yeah, but anyways, I worked on my commissions and I finished some of those and I sent them to my commissioner for approval, and then I cleaned my house and I got ready, and I got dripped out because I'm taking a driver license test later. Oh, but the chicken patties. So I had not eaten yet today and it is like 3 p.m. So I woke up, what's the math? 12 hours ago? And I have not eaten yet. I had a cup of hot chocolate and that was it. And I thought that would keep me over until the winter, but I was wrong. But anyways, back to the flat coloring. So I had the flat coloring and look at the glasses I did. You're probably studying that and you're probably like, whoa, what did she do? I don't know what I did. Do not ask me what I did. I did a lot of things, but like I used like a lot of different like layers, and I turned on different opacities, and I did things that I saw in videos, and that's all I gotta tell you. And I don't know how it works, but it works. But anyways, I've been using the pen tool a lot lately too. Yeah, that's right. I know how to use the pen. But I think it's really been improving my line art. Things are a lot smoother than normal. Like I feel like I already lined fairly smoothly, but like it feels smoother now. But anyways, that little pause, I was trying to figure out how to color stuff because there's so many pieces to his outfit. And I was like, how am I gonna differentiate things? And also, if you notice little gray bits, I like to add like a gray base layer and then I color on top of that. And then when I'm done with that, I just turn the layer black. And then it all blends in. But anyways, I was like debating a lot of stuff here. Like I was debating coloring the line art because I use like a line art texture. I like to use the debaser, I think it's True Grit texture. Is that what it's called? It's something like that. But it's like this, whatever. That's not really explanatory. It's this thing I got, and it makes stuff like old comics. Like it gives like the toothy grit of comics, and it gives the texture of old comics, and it makes it just look old. And that's what I like. So I use some of that, but the thing is with the texture, you have to use it on multiply or else there's these little weird white bits. So then I was trying to figure out how to work with that and make that look normal. And then I was coloring in his suit more flat colors because there's a lot of colors going on. Okay, there's a lot of things happening, but I couldn't tell what was what, so I turned the background red to see better. And then once I could see, finally I turned it back black. But anyways, his outfit has so many dark shades and I was scared because it makes sense 3D, but this is a 2D illustration. So I'm like, how do I differentiate the different paths and planes and whatnot? And the colors weren't quite what I thought they were. So then I distract myself with like highlights and blushies. Ooh, I love making good romantic pieces. I've made so many romantic pieces lately. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a big romance gal. Like other girlies, I'm not like other girls. Other girlies, they like coms with like, they're like rom-coms with like little funny, like little, haha, oh my gosh, she's a baker and he's a businessman, stuff like that. I'm not like that, so I always struggle with stuff like that because I'm like, what if it doesn't look romantic enough? But I think I've been doing it lately. I don't know how, but it's been happening. But anyways, I figured out the solution to the dark tones. I added half tones and like screen layers. So like the different textures make it so your eye can differentiate what the items are, even though they're all like a dark shade. And I also use like lots of rim lighting and stuff to help. And then these buttons, I was so confused with these buttons. If you see me pause, it's because I'm studying the buttons. I found one good picture of the buttons online. And then don't look at these two guys. Don't look at it. I can't draw animals. Don't look at it. Oh, it's a wolf, I think. Maybe. Well, the picture's supposed to be a wolf. I don't know what I did. but I think he has like a wolf on his button, and you're gonna see it from a distance anyway. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it looks like up close. Don't look too close. But anyways, I just go and I detail some stuff. I thought I already shaded his lips before, but it just disappeared. So I went and did it again. I've never drawn a man with such full lips. All the men I draw have paper lips. They don't even have lips. They have holes for mouths, and that's it. So this was like a thing because I was scared. I was really scared that he'd look weird with these full lips. I was worried that I would show my commissioner and they'd be upset that maybe he looked too effeminate, which is crazy because like there's like a lot of complex things like that. But a man with a beard who's big like this, I don't think a pair of full lips is gonna make him look like a woman instantly. But that was something I was worried about. But they liked it. So then I just kept working with the colors and the hair. The hair is kind of difficult because it was so dark. It wasn't that hard, but like I couldn't see well, and I could have lightened it up. But I wasn't thinking. Okay, I haven't been thinking for the past week. I've been confused. I forgot everything. I just forget sometimes. But anyways, I got over their hair, and the hair design's so nice, by the way. I was drawing it and I was like, these white tips are hitting. And then I do this thing where you add like a little bit of the skin tone underneath the bangs, so the bangs look see-through, and I was like, okay, this eats a little bit. And then finally we have the flat colors done, and I can add the shading finally. And this was the point when I was doing the shading, I was like, why is this so hard? I have a technique for doing shading. This is not the technique. I don't know what I was doing here, but it was something. So typically with shading, I like make a gradient and I like use a clipping mask, and then everything has like the same layer for shading, but like it's slightly different tones because the gradient layer makes it so like maybe the top is pink and the bottom's blue and the tones in between are like a bluish, purpley, whatever. But anyways, I did it. I did it. And I'm just now realizing that I did not add the stripes, the cross sections for his outfit. And I hope my commission didn't say anything about that. I didn't add those. I forgot. They didn't say anything. Oh my gosh. Well, anyways, I had the hearts in because they wanted, and I had like a little halftone background. And that's the finished piece. If you've been drawing along, make sure to stretch and drink some water. Thanks for watching, and thanks to my commissioner. This was really fun to draw, and it helped me remember how to draw. Bye.